you want to do? Let's do Matrix first.
Okay.
All right.
It sucked.
All right, and this episode we're talking about the brand new Matrix. Was it Matrix Resurrection?
Resurrection.
Just like
Matrix.
Alien Resurrection.
Yeah.
Matrix.
They could have just left it dead.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, if you're going to go with that, they should have left it dead after the first Matrix movie.
I totally agree.
But they didn't. So this is where we are. And if you went, okay, so let me put it to you this way. If you went and watched Kevin's Jay and Silent Bob, the reboot, and you enjoyed it, you should absolutely enjoy The Matrix Resurrection. Because it is just basically a reboot. You can't take it super seriously. And I thought it was fun. I thought the action was good. I enjoyed the callback. I enjoyed the nostalgia of it. Did I think it was the greatest movie in the world? No. Neil Patrick Harris is a bad guy. Interesting. Terrible choice for Smith, though. Really should have done something different with Smith. I didn't like that at all.
I agree. I don't like that.
Unbelievable.
I didn't. I agree. I was bored. That's what I mean. I didn't, to be honest, that was because I went into it kind of excited to watch it, and it was on, and then the next thing I know, I'm like about 30 minutes into it, I'm like on my phone.
Yeah, and it's long. It's like 2 hours.
Oh, it's longer than 2 hours. I mean, I went into it like I turned the lights off, I put the headphones on, I focused because I knew if I didn't, I would like be playing on the phone and everything else. So I was like, okay. And then I got into it, and it was not it. If I pay, okay, let me put it this way: if I paid money and went and sat in a movie theater and saw it, I'd be pissed. Absolutely, absolutely, no doubt. I watched it on HBO Max, which I get for free with my phone, and it was fine.
I was happy. I mean, I was, but I think, on all honesty, I think part of the problem was the night before I had seen Spider-Man. And Spider-Man is done so well, and that a lot of the things they were trying to do, they didn't, in this movie, they did in Spider-Man, and they did it really well. And so that's kind of why I just found myself getting bored.
Yes, if you look at it, if you think like that, yes, absolutely. It's a steaming pile of shit if you compare it to like No Way Home. I mean, let's be honest. And No Way Home did a lot of this. They did the same things. And yes, absolutely. No Way Home did it a million times better.
It's not fair to do that. I know. But by the same token, I was kind of like, and we've talked a little bit about this before. I just remember thinking, man, there's other stuff I'd like to watch. I want to watch The Witcher. The second season of that, I've
never seen the first season. I need to watch
that. Dude.
See, that's what I'm talking. See, and that's why I was like, okay, I gotta, there were other things. There's so many things out right now. And there's stuff I want to go back and rewatch, which we talked a little bit about. So I was like, and that's why our Chip and I are on with some friends that we've known forever. And I said, hey, has anybody been able to finish that? And then the one guy chimed back with, it doesn't get any better. And I was like, okay, I'm out. But that's not my franchise. I'm
very much, because I studied a lot of philosophy of the mind and stuff like that in college, which really feeds into a lot of the ideas in the Matrix. So I like the philosophy of the Matrix. I think a pretty good understanding of it. Of the original movie, the other stuff, because a lot of the Matrix, and somebody who I don't have, how do I put this? He's my friend, but he's not a very deep thinker, and he's kind of an asshole, to be honest with you. But he said a lot of the Matrix, the stuff is about transition, because the directors and the writers of the Matrix, both of them have transitioned from men to women. And I was like, wow, there is a lot of transitional stuff. And then if you watch Sense8 is so much about that. So I was like, oh, that's very interesting. And that's, I could see that with the second two movies. But I thought this one was good. And I thought they gave a good explanation as to why this happened. Because like when you're first watching it, you're like, what is this? How is this? They're dead. You know what I mean? And I thought, okay. And then I was thinking, they're not real. They don't have bodies anymore, but they had like a ROM recording of them. And that's what's running through them. And then I was like, oh no, they have physical bodies. So it was like the same thing. I was like, okay, because when I saw the original Matrix, I was like, oh, this is all like Descartes, this is all brain in the bottle, all that kind of stuff. This, we'll see how this movie is. It's probably going to be crap. And then I remember that scene where they they give him the pill and he pops out of the pod, and I was like, holy crap, what is this? Okay, I'm along for the ride. I didn't think this was going to happen. So that's probably why I'm I'm a fan, because it really, surprised me, and I thought it was a very original film.
Snow Crash and Neil Stephenson and all those kind of things. I have
a lot of William Gibson stuff is definitely in the Matrix.
Is it an homage, or is it it's kind of like Hunger Games? Is it ripping?
Very much a cyberpunk type. The Matrix, the original Matrix, very much a cyberpunk type movie.
So when I watched it, my first thought, like as soon as he popped out of the pod, I was like, damn, he's caught again. Like, what is this? It's like, why does he, like, they can't keep him out? And it's just like, oh yay, there's Trinity and they don't know each other, and da 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 da. And it was just like, why? And then they made the whole thing of the Matrix actually being a video game that he's making a video game of the Matrix. That's why he has those flashback memories of all these things.
Yeah,
because
it was super meta. Super meta.
And then he meets Trinity for like the umpteenth time, but he doesn't know it. And he's like, how do you look like the lady in my video game?
He has a crush on that. He knows, like, he has a crush on her, that woman, and he always goes to that coffee shop to see her, but he'll never talk to her. That was all part of the beginning of the movie that was kind of unsaid, but you got that he had been watching her from afar for a while. He knew there was a connection.
That's not creepy at all. Married lady with babies, not creepy.
Well, he didn't know that until that one guy went up his coworker.
Well, apparently he's not stalking her good enough. If he didn't know that.
Because he wasn't stalking her at all. He was not stalking her.
He was admiring her from afar.
He was admiring from afar.
Okay, but that's what every stalker thinks.
Romantic at one point in the world.
I'm not stalking them. I'm just admiring them from afar in their own house.
That's what 90%.
No, not at their house. Just at the whatever.
No, I said that's what stalkers think. They admire people from
so
afar.
Sarah, when you first, when was the first time you saw the first Matrix? Do you remember?
No, I don't. I think probably in the movie theater.
I did. I saw it. I liked it a lot.
What year was that?
Hold on.
Late 90s or early 2000?
It was the late 90s, early, because I was still married to my first wife. That makes me sound really old, doesn't it?
but it
1999.
Yeah.
That movie I saw in the theaters, and I remember watching it, and then I think I saw it at least twice in the theater.
Betty White died.
When?
Just now. I just got the thing on my watch.
Who did?
Betty White.
Really?
That's so sad.
Wow.
Well, like 2021, of course. Fucking of course. The last day of 2021. God.
Okay. So I was 16 when this came out. I'm trying to think. No, I definitely would have saw it in the theater then.
It was a big deal. It was, I mean, I like I said, I think if I remember correctly, I know I saw it more than once in the theater. I think I may have even done the thing where I went and sat through it twice.
I was 30 when it came out.
I
had just turned 30 when it came out.
No, I loved it when it first came out. And then when the second one came out, I was all excited. And when I got to the theater and watched that, I remember being like, wow, what, huh? And so it kind of ruined the franchise for me. And I don't think I've seen parts of the third one. I don't think I've ever seen the whole third one.
Oh, I've seen them all multiple times.
Yeah, I've seen them all. The Matrix Revolution, The Matrix Reloaded. There's also the Animatrix.
Oh, yeah. I love that. Now, the Animatrix, so Star Wars Visions that we talked about,
yeah,
that's like the same concept. Like Animatrix was, but okay. The difference was Animatrix, they wrote the stories. They had already had them written out, and they gave them to a bunch of different Japanese animators and said, make, animate these. And that was the Animatrix. And it's actually really, really good.
I remember liking those.
Yeah. Star Wars Visions, they said make a anime in Star Wars, and they wrote the stories and animated it. They were not given a script.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but I agree with Sarah. I was like, why? And I just I wanted it to be good, but just like Alien Resurrection, I wanted that to be good. Although Alien Resurrection, I think, was still better than Matrix Resurrection. That's the one where you see it from it's the one with Winona Ryder, and you see it from the perspective of the alien.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was a steaming pile of garbage until they came out with Alien Covenant or whatever, the one after Prometheus. Because I love Ridley Scott. My daughter's named after Ridley Scott. But honestly, he is getting so old, he must forget the continuity of his own movies because he makes stuff that makes no sense.
Well, they wound up cutting stuff out. And I get it. It's funny. I think you and I are we're kind of flipped on this, Chip. When it comes to Alien, I am much more, I'll watch it. I've watched Prometheus a few times. Once you see some of the cut scenes from it, it makes more sense. Are they awesome? No, but I like that franchise. I'm much more, I'll do the legwork. I'll suffer through it. I'm not suffering through Matrix just because they kind of lost me after the first one.
It was too long.
Well, realistically, Alien and Aliens are the only two real decent movies out of Alien.
Like two of my favorite movies ever.
Yeah, and they're so dear. And it's
I liked Alien versus Predator.
That's actually Alien versus Predator is a good movie. Alien versus Predator is, to me, an underrated sci-fi movie.
The first one is not very bad, and the
second
first one
is one of the biggest piles of shit ever created.
Alien versus Predator Requiem, which is what it's called.
I knew if I said that, it would light you up, Chip. I knew it.
Oh God, that movie! And those two brothers, the two brothers that made that, then went and made Skyline, which is easily one of the worst movies ever made. What's
Skyline?
Oh God, like I remember back when we were making the Legion podcast, me and Alan were doing episodes, and we made an emergency episode that he released. It was just me going, "Don't go see this movie. It is terrible."
What's it about?
Who knows? It's about an alien invasion, and that's about and then it makes no sense. And what's his name? The African American guy from Scrubs is in it. He's the only person you know.
Really?
Oh, they made the series. They made it a series.
They're doing all kinds of weird shit with it now, and I'm like, it was just horrific. And the guy, remember the guy who dies in the first episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer? The first guy in the first episode. He's in it. He's the main character. He's one of the main. Him and the other guy, the guy from Scrubs, are the two main characters.
Strange lights descend on the city of Los Angeles, drawing people outside like moths.
We don't need to give them any more time. Let's move on.
All right.
It's like Independence Day, but it sucks.
Oh, but it's
Yeah.
It's not a selling point.
But I did. The one thing that I thought was very weird about the new Matrix movie was it was just so meta, and all the flashbacks. It was almost like, I'll admit, almost too much. I was like, a quarter of your movie is just flashbacks, so you didn't have to pay or it was already done.
Half of Boba Fett was flashbacks.
Yeah, but those are new flashbacks. Like that is not.
And they redid Boba Fett flashbacks. A lot of them. They're actually redone. Like when he picks up the helmet.
Yeah,
actually was redone because they show his reflection. There's a couple, so they actually, it was Boba Fett's better. I wouldn't want these two together.
Yeah. But like I said, it was on HBO Max and it didn't cost me anything. So
That's
it was
true.
It cost you 2.5 hours of your life.
That's
That's
all.
what it
You know how much of my life has been wasted watching YouTube. I mean, those are actually decent. That was 2.5 hours well spent rather than watching 2.5 hours of ghost / fail videos on YouTube, or unboxings, or street fights, or road rages.
I do not do the
I like cat
road
videos.
rage. I won't do the unboxing things. I'm like,
It depends on what it is. Like, I'm really there. So, I'm a bit of an audiophile / idiot. And because that's what we all are, audiophiles. We just like to waste money over this perceived, like I can hear this better, whatever. But Qualcomm's coming out with a new system called Snapdragon Sound, which will be wireless uncompressed audio. So it will be CD quality or better wirelessly. So I've spent many hours watching videos from Qualcomm and everything else on YouTube. So 2.5 hours to the Matrix, time well spent. It's like I might as well have gotten paid for it. That's how good it was.
I can't do the things. Even like if I want to see, I fast forward through that part. I'm like,
I don't care how it's packaged. What's in the box?
Very
what's in the box?
Humorous.
What's in the box?
All right, well then let's talk about Hawkeye. Chip, I think you've kind of tipped your hat. What do you think of it, Sarah?
It's okay. Like, will I watch it again? No. Would I have watched the whole thing if we weren't going to talk about it? No. It was okay. It had entertaining points. It was funny, it was Hawkeye being Hawkeye, and then pulling in Kate Bishop, and then with the Black Widow character, what was her name?
Yelena is in it?
Yelena's in it. And so it was interesting to see, and then it was okay. It was okay.
Well,
it was fine.
I kind of what we were talking about with some of the other stuff. I have not liked the MCU shows at all, so I had very low expectations, and I think because of that, I actually really enjoyed this. And I mean, I get it. It's I think they did a good job with her. With Kate Bishop, I think they picked who they picked. She did a great job.
Yeah.
She's been good in everything she's done.
It's a little
Haley Steinfeld.
Wasn't
very accomplished
in Pitch Perfect?
Mm-hmm.
That was where
I didn't know she was in Pitch Perfect.
She in Pitch Perfect? I think she was.
She's a singer. She has albums.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I knew she had. But that's like a whole. Isn't she European? I mean, that's a whole European thing. Like Jana Janovich, whatever her name is, from The Fifth Element and all of that.
She's American.
She has a bunch of albums too.
Haley Steinfeld is an American person.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was also in True Grit.
Yes, and she was also in that movie based on the book that we all love, Ender's Quest or Ender's Game.
Yeah, Ender's Game.
That's right. She's in Ender's Game. She's in the one. What's the one about the car that has like a mind of its own? It's
Knight Rider.
No. Bumblebee. No.
Bumblebee. Bumblebee. That's right. She's Bumblebee. She's in Bumblebee. Yeah, absolutely.
Bumblebee.
And she had her own show on Apple Plus called Dickinson, which was hugely popular, and that ran for 2, maybe 3 seasons. So she's quite an accomplished actress for how old she is.
She was great in this. When they brought in Kingpin, I mean, that's when I was like, okay. I mean, I kind of knew that was that I didn't know for sure that they would do that. There's a lot of, they apparently had started, Charlie Cox was going to be in it, and there were going to be Daredevil. That was supposed to be the last scene, instead of them showing you, oh my God, the whole thing for that "We Can Do This All Day" song was the last scene. And so Chip, in the first one, that's the cutaway scene, and you're like, oh my God, or that's the last cut scene in it, and they showed the whole thing. But apparently they had started to film, excuse me, or they were going to film or whatever, the plan was to have Daredevil come in at the end. And then because he's in all the She-Devil stuff and a bunch of other things, and because of COVID, they couldn't, the travel restriction, they couldn't actually get him to be in it.
Yeah, they've and by the way, she's also the voice of Gwen Stacy in Spider-Man Spider-Verse.
Really?
Spider-Verse. So yeah. Yeah, I know with Charlie Cox showing up in Spider-Man No Way Home as Matt Murdock.
Spoiler alert.
No,
I think that's everyone. That's the worst spoiler.
Yeah.
We don't know that.
Yeah. And then Kingpin being in this, so I wonder when they're gonna pull, because what they could do is if all they have to do is pull them in to this, then that legitimizes it into this, into the back into the MCU, and then they've locked them in for whatever. So I wonder if when they're gonna pull Iron Fist over, Power Man over, and Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones, you've got to think she definitely is going to get pulled over.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure about if they don't recast Iron Fist.
Power Man, Iron Fist, and Shang-Chi together in the movie or having a TV series, that's gold right there.
Yeah.
They would be crazy not to do that.
Well, but they're going to recast them all. Like Disney, I don't think will just pick them up and bring them over.
They were already contracted, so they can recast them if they choose to, but odds are they won't. They've only recasted 2 people in the MCU, and that was Ed Norton, because he wouldn't come back, or he wanted way too much creative control, and they're like, yeah, no, we're not playing that game anymore.
Yeah, this is the Hulk.
Yeah, this is the Hulk. You do what we say. So they got Mark Ruffalo. And then Terrence Howard wanted way too much money, so they got Don Cheadle, which I think is better. I think Don Cheadle's much better as War Machine than Terrence Howard would have been. So, but there, like I said, we were talking online, there is rumor that they're going to recast Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, but that's probably just a rumor.
No, but the other thing was that they're going to downplay the thing. A lot of the scuttlebutt. And I think it's just because she was somewhat unpopular. Is that they had said there was going to be a Captain Marvel 2, and then they came out.
It became the Marvels,
and so people were thinking, well, they must not be making a Captain Marvel 2, and they're downplaying her role, yada yada yada. But now they've come out and they've shown. That they actually are going to do it.
It's just the Marvels is going to be Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel from the TV series that's coming on, and then she was Captain Marvel for a while. Monica Rambeau from WandaVision. She called herself Captain Marvel for a while in the comic book. She also went by Photon. She also led the Avengers for a while, which people seem to forget.
That's cool.
So
maybe then she'll do it again. So we don't know what's going to happen.
They could do all kinds of stuff with that. There's so much that they can do right now.
Well, and they just keep shoving everybody in. I mean, Kate Bishop's mom is Madame Murder. What's her? I can't think of her name.
I don't know. I knew that when I only watched
her name.
I've watched 3/4 of the first episode of Hawkeye. That's all I've seen.
Madam Mask.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is a Kate Bishop villain, and in other stuff too.
Well, yeah, and Kate Bishop. I mean, like I've read like the first 2 arcs of Young Avengers, and I've read the Children's Crusade, which is the Young Avengers.
Yeah. A lot of this is based off the Matt Fraction.
Yeah, this is all Matt Fraction, Hawkeye. But I mean, this is terrible to say, but man, Ritter's looking old. I mean, like I was just like, man,
that's what I was thinking.
Everybody's aged so much from like if you watch the Avengers, they're like babies compared to what they look like now. I mean, it's been a while.
He's only 50. He's 50.
Well, and the whole thing is he's been trying to retire, and that's why, that's kind of this whole thing. He's trying to take everything out because one of the cut scenes that was cut out was the Ronin sword went to Kingpin because he was like, as a warning, he sent it to Kingpin. So that actually got cut out. It's not in the. There's a lot of Kingpin stuff that apparently got cut out of this because there's photos online. I can't remember if it was Jeremy Renner. One of them put it on their Instagram thing where, or it was the guy maybe who played that plays Kingpin. Anyway, it's out there, so that was definitely a thing. So there was a lot of stuff that was cut from this, but the actress from The Conjurings and from
hold on,
Kate Bishop's mom,
Vera Farmiga.
Yeah,
she was. First thing I remember her in was Up in the Air. That
I was going to say that's the first thing I remember her in.
Jason Reitman movie with George Clooney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that whole so apparently there's more backstory of that was probably cut too.
She was in the Bates Motel.
Yeah.
That's right, she was.
Mm-hmm. She did so well in that. That was horrifying.
Well, they're gonna have an Echo spinoff from this. I mean, there are so many characters.
Oh, Echo's in this? Maya Lopez?
Yeah, you'll see her later as you watch them. She's in there.
Yeah, she was great. She came out of the Daredevil series in the comics, and then Bendis killed her in a Moon Knight limited arc.
Well, Moon Knight's coming out too, so you think about all the characters that they have coming out.
I love these characters. Well, I've never been a huge Hawkeye fan as far as the comics go. I mean, he was always a throwaway character.
Yeah,
I mean, he was a bow and arrow, big deal.
Well, it's funny, and now they're bringing in people that were bigger characters. He was always, I mean, he was part of the Avengers a lot, but you're right, he was always secondary.
But I'm definitely excited to. I mean, I've always loved Moon Knight. The idea of Moon Knight, because I remember being a kid, and it's funny how you remember stuff. I remember going to a antique store with my mom, or a thrift store or something. We were always looking for antique stuff, and we were always looking for books. My mom read all the time. We were always trying to find weird books. But this place, they had all these places had like a box of comics for like a nickel each or a dime each, and this one had a ton of Werewolf by Nights, which I'd never read. So I grabbed like a whole handful of those at like $1. And I wish I still had it, because it was the first appearance of Moon Knight was in Werewolf by Night. He was hired to capture the werewolf. I
had a Slurpee cup, like a second, not that first round, but the Slurpee cups that came later. I had a Moon Knight one, and that was my introduction.
But I remember just really thinking Moon Knight was really cool. And then I read the Rampaging Hulk, which was a Marvel black and white magazine that came out in the 70s. It had backstories that were Moon Knight, which were adult. It was the black and white magazine format was an adult format, as opposed to the comic books were for kids. But I remember that, and that was those were really super good and well written, So looking forward to that one. Well, I will get through this one. It's going to take me a little while.
I think I thought it got better a little bit towards the end. It has a little bit of a lull. There's only 6 episodes.
Well, that's good.
For the end, I think it's
Yeah.
All right, so we've thrown some love to DC. I mean, we never throw love to DC. Have you guys seen the Batman trailer that came out, the newest one? It's very
no.
I've seen a few of them. I don't think I've seen the latest one.
And that's the guy from Twilight.
Yeah, I want to be excited, but
it's the guy from Harry Potter. Why do you don't have to run him down? I mean, he had to make money. He was also in Tenet. He was really good in Tenet. You have to okay, if you watch Tenet, you have to put on headphones. Because you can't hear it. I don't know what the hell Chris.
I did hear that. I've heard people mention that.
Yeah, I was like, what are you doing with the soundscape?
Some people had said that about Dune, but I didn't have that issue.
Dune, well, I watched Dune with headphones on for the same, and Dune was a little bit difficult, some of it.
Some parts.
But
no, I want to be excited about this, but it just that new the trailers don't make me more enthused. It makes me less.
Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman will be interesting. I like her. you know.
Man, really?
Yeah. Ever since High Fidelity, I like her.
Yes, exactly. Loved how that was just a travesty. That show only got one season. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
That show is great. And that show has the best line ever. So she's trying to convince her friend to go to this party with her. And he goes, oh, I'd rather listen to Creed. And she goes, oh, whoa, no. Like, and then they make fun of Fish a bunch in it. So you've got to appreciate it for those 2 points, if anything.
Yeah, it was a fun show. I was worried about it because I liked the original High Fidelity with John Cusack so much. And I was like, how are they going to do it to where I still like it, but make it different enough to where I don't feel like it's trying to take over what it was.
Well,
and it was
they did a really good job with it. I mean, I
they
thought,
really did.
and I've read the book. The book's by Nick Hornsby.
Yeah.
It's really good. And I felt that they were true to it, you know, and the characters were interesting. I was impressed. Like, I heard about it. John Darko, actually, Scotty, was the guy who mentioned it on one of his shows. And I was like, what? High Fidelity girl, gender switch? Zoe Kravitz? How's that going to work? I got to go watch this. And then I watched it. I was blown away. And then I was like, oh, and then as soon as I finished watching the season, I jumped online. I'm like, when's the second season coming out? And the first thing was High Fidelity canceled.
Which streaming service?
Hulu. It's on Hulu.
Oh, that's why I've never seen it. That's the one I don't have. So.
Well, and also Hulu is now famous for having stuff that actually was good and well received, and then canceling it.
That's what. See that?
Well, you can do your 1 week trial and then watch it.
Yeah, that's what I did with AMC to watch the first season of The Preacher. I never finished the second season of The Preacher. That show just
I wanted to like that, but that's another show that just sort of didn't.
The first season was kind of exciting, and then the second season it's like, well, yeah, I love it. That it was so freaking weird. It's like,
it was so weird, and I was like, okay, I'm totally bought into this. I will watch this. And then the second season, I was just like, yeah, I'm just not into this.
Yeah.
Very weird.
I wanted to. I think I started I watched part of the second season, and then
I watched part of the second season, and I just got tired of it. You know.
Yeah, that's how I am with Doom Patrol. I can't do that. I got to go back and try to. I have not finished. I'll watch like one episode, wait a whole bunch. I'm doing that with Titans. I'm gonna finish both those, but they're just not doing it.
Doom Patrol. I just can't watch anymore of it.
Another like a feeding frenzy, like just a binge for Titans. I mean, it's so amazing.
I can't binge. I can't binge good shows.
I fall asleep.
I can binge good shows. Like I watched The Morning Show, which people I loved it. I thought it was really good. I don't know what it is. The Morning Show, it's Jennifer Aniston.
Oh, that's the one they pretend they're having a morning show. They actually are like, it's like behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's on but I've always loved
Fonda. Is that Jane Fonda? Who's the other one on it?
No, it's Jennifer Aniston and
Reese Witherspoon.
And Steve Carell. It's on Apple TV Plus.
Oh, that's why I don't watch it.
Yeah, because you don't have it.
Well, that's another one. I'm not big on when I've had Apple TV Plus. None of their shows, except for what's his name, Lasso, Ted Lasso. That's like the only of their shows that I've really liked.
For All Mankind was really good, and there's a bunch of shows on there now that
I started to watch that one, and I've got so many. I don't watch that much TV, so I've
shows out there. Yeah, I mean, have you guys watched more of The Wheel of Time? I only watched the first episode.
I've watched every single one.
Oh, okay.
I watched another couple, but I haven't been. That's another. I'll probably go back. I'm going to go back and finish.
There's going to be a new one today because they come out on Fridays.
Oh, that's right.
But when this is done, we're done, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But right now, I'm just saying because
you can go watch it.
I'll go watch something.
Gotta go run and watch Wheel of Time. No, I actually thought it's gotten highly rated, and they're doing a second season. They've already said.
Well, good. I mean, I'm just not that into fantasy shows right now. I mean, I haven't watched The Witcher. I'm just not, I've seen Lord of the Rings. What more do I need? Surely I'm done.
That's what I started watching yesterday. I have never seen the extended cut ones.
Oh, really?
So I started, and
I have them all around, I have them in a box around here on DVD somewhere. My dad bought it and never watched them.
They're on, what, isn't that on HBO? I think that's on HBO. Yeah, that's on HBO Plus. So you can watch the regular cuts or you can watch the extended ones. I'm like, I remember watching. So I knew I'd cut it in half too, because those shows, those are so long.
Yeah.
Well,
I can't take these 2-hour movies though. Like when did that start being a standard?
Oh yeah. I remember
2+ hours. It's like the long movies were 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Back in the day, and they really rarely released a movie that was over 90 minutes. But I will tell you this: go watch. The only reason me and Rain watched Venom: Let There Be Carnage is because I saw it was only 100. It was an hour and 29 minutes long. I'm like, okay, if it had been a 2.5-hour movie, there's no way I would have watched.
Is that the newest one? I haven't seen.
That's the newest one, and it's. I was rearranging my CD collection, re-alphabetizing it while we watched it. But at the end, they introduced Toxin, which is another one of the Venom bad guys. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Yeah, when you bring in Woody Harrelson, I was like, really?
I like him on some things, but I just was not good for this.
I liked him in the Zombie Land. He was brilliant in Zombie Land.
But I've had this discussion before, but you bring in a character you bring in an actor or actress that has a long history. Angelina Jolie in Eternals. Don't bring them into a character that
was like a wet rag in that movie. She was just.
I
never watched it.
Yeah, you ain't missed it.
Yeah.
Wait for that to show up on Disney Plus.
I'm not paying for it extra, yeah.
Yeah.
But we should go out on talking shit about Angelina.
Right. Yeah, the acid.
Yep. So anyway. All right. So do we want to do Hawkeye or do we want to do because or actually we can talk about both. We'll see how that goes.
Sure.
You want to do let's do Matrix first.
Okay.
All right.
It sucked.